magic in the air.
Hey guys, welcome to Jammin' and Jammies. My name's Megan Barker. If you don't know what Jammin' and Jammies is, it's a live show that happens here in Nashville. We feature hit songwriters and rising artists in pajamas. It's a real hoot. Right now we're doing everything via live stream on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, so make sure that you tune into that. And while we're all sitting at home in our pajamas a little more, we thought it would be fun to sit down with some of our favorite songwriters and pick their brains. Today we have Mr. Mark Narmore. I am so excited. I'm such a fan. Mark is a Grammy and Dove Award nominated songwriter, and he is an Alabama boy through and through. He grew up not far from Muscle Shoals. He's got cuts by artists like Josh Turner, Randy Clark, Reba, Shenandoah, and you might remember maybe his most notable hit, That's What I Love About Sunday. Mark, how are you doing?
Just really good on a Monday morning, just blessed, and man, the weather's looking really pretty, and it seems like the vibe of everybody is lightening up little by little. I mean, we're all getting a few more smiles as we go along, right?
I think the shock is wearing off. Everyone's kind of coming to a little bit. It's been crazy.
You're right. It's good to smile a little bit more and to see that. It's exciting to see people getting a little bit more like I say, just a smile, just having fun a little bit.
Yeah, and we can get back to thinking about music a little more too. I know that the first couple weeks I didn't really know how to process anything. I couldn't write a song, and I'm feeling much better now. So I'm excited to talk to you about your process and all of that. So do you want to just start by telling us how you got into music and maybe who your influences were?
I will definitely do that. Well, you know me. We've done shows together, and I will talk the horns off of Billy Goat. No, I'm glad. Have you ever heard that before? Talk the horns off of Billy Goat?
No, that's the first time actually.
Well, good. You've got a new one you can use.
I'm going to. Thank you.
When I was about 5 or 6 years old, my mom had a piano stored at our home from like an aunt who was remodeling, and I really, I had sang a little bit when I was very little, but just like any kid would do. When that piano got in there, I sort of gravitated toward it and started picking songs out by ear, simple songs. I mean, I wasn't playing Chopin or Mozart, but enough. She saw enough in that to thought, man, well, he sort of has an affinity or a predilection for, musicality. So when it came time for that piano to go back to my aunt's, my mom said, hey, can we just leave that you don't want to tote that big old heavy piano back on a truck. You got to get 5 guys to load it. We'll just buy it from you because Mark is playing it. So that was the first, my mom, I have her to thank for just about everything, my parents in my life, but she realized that, kept that piano there. Megan, it took me, I would say, I was an only child, or am an only child, so I had plenty of time to practice on my own. Now, I did have peripheral friends, but I had plenty of alone time. So I would say it took me 5 or 10 years of just sitting there learning on my own, figuring out. It's like Rosetta Stone moments, like, aha, I figured out, there was a 1, 4, and 5 chord in every key. Now, first I figured out there were different keys, like there was the key of A flat, there was the key of G. Nobody told me that. I sort of figured that out. And then I figured out, well, there's a 1, 4, 5 in every key, and I figured out how to play them. On the piano, they're all played differently. So in the midst of all that, my mom tried to give me piano lessons, and that really, the teachers were really sweet, but it didn't work because I'd already learned how to mimic and play by ear enough. When they would play a simple song, I would sort of pretend to read the music and play it by ear, because that's just what a 8-year-old kid's gonna do, and they would figure it out. They would bust me, and they were like, oh, Miss Narmore, we can't take your money anymore. He doesn't know how to read music at all. And I never learned to read music, and it's been a blessing to be able to play it by ear. And also, I had a cousin, we live in Center Star. I'm still here in the very town I grew up in, which is about 30 minutes from Muscle Shoals proper, Megan. And when I was like 6, 7 years old, my cousin Spooner Oldham, he was helping get the Muscle Shoals music industry up and running. He was playing piano on Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Mustang Sally. So I sort of had the rumblings of that. My mom had a couple of those records, and I'm thinking, well, there is my cousin Spooner. His name is on the record as a writer, and he's also a player. So she said, yeah, the Muscle Shoals music industry, she explained it. It was sort of a funky little offshoot thing that was happening. So I really got interested and really enamored with Spooner, his playing, and everything I could learn about Muscle Shoals to this day is like, it's a part of my core and my soul. Within Muscle Shoals, it's so many influences. There's country, there's blues, there's jazz, there's gospel. So it's not really one kind of thing. It's kind of a melting pot, but it is kind of funky and bluesy overall. So that's how I got my start, 6 or 7 years old, playing piano, getting it together for about 10 years, learning my chords. About age 15, I got with some old rock and roll boys on my mama's carport. We started playing Southern rock. And boy, did I like that, because, everybody was getting into it. They're like, people would cheer and like, wow, this is pretty cool, rock star, So still, songwriting had crept in there also. About age 10, I had written a couple of songs. So to me, the music business and what I wanted to do in it was sort of a conglomeration of everything. I would have been happy to have been a sound engineer, piano player, a songwriter, a singer, an artist, any of it, even just one thing, whatever, So I was just enamored. In the band, I wrote a few songs. We all wrote songs in that rock band. And looking back, man, there were some pretty wild rock songs there.
I bet. Well, when did you discover Nashville? How did all of that come to be?
That came to be after college, after high school, right at the front end of college. I started working at a little country radio station in Lexington, Alabama called WLX. And I was familiar a little bit with country music, but not so much, just from my dad playing Carter Family. He played the old country. I mean, like Carter Family, Tennessee Ernie Ford, some of the, Webb Pierce. I knew those people like Hank Williams. I just didn't know the ones like maybe from the 70s, and 60s maybe. So I was playing this country music, soaking it up like a sponge at this little radio station. I'm learning, oh wow, George Jones and Merle Haggard, and I want to say songwriters I was hearing were like Matresa Bird, Paul Overstreet, Tom Schuyler, and I was so inspired because the songs, I didn't realize it, the songs were so brilliant, and that they still are. Nashville is a lyric town, pretty much. It's always been. The lyrics held to a high gold standard, and I just got into that after high school and into college, and I thought, man, I love how these lyrical twists work. That's what sold me. I was totally into country music. The way you could twist a phrase maybe twice, 3 times, 4 times. One phrase can work 4 different ways. And I'm like, I'm in. I've got to crack the code. So I studied every clever hook. Now, I don't care if people say don't write clever. I always like clever hooks. And that is what brought me to the game. I will stick a twisted lines in songs. That is just my calling card. That's what I love. So I'm going to keep doing that forever. So I was like on a high. You find a title that twists around and it really works, and you're going, oh my goodness, I have found gold. I have found a nugget. And you're a great songwriter, with that little nugget, it pretty much, you can write the song. It has a possibility. It's like a matrix, like a plan. From that seed, it can sprout, it can be done. You think, wow, yeah, I can do this. I can write a hit song, or I can write in a variety of ways. That, to me, that was the thing at first of learning. I would try every way, I would try 10 ways to write that title when I was younger, had plenty of time.
Yeah.
And all that. But Nashville definitely was Rosetta Stone moment when I saw those songs being written so well, the lyrics so well. I couldn't turn out, I could not look away from that. That drew me in like a tractor beam. You hear about these alien tractor beams that draw people up. I was in the tractor beam of Nashville songwriting.
You were abducted, you're saying?
Yes, I think I'm still.
Well, Nashville abducts a lot of people. It did the same thing to me. I'm the same way. I love a good hook. I don't care if it's out of style or whatever. I love it.
Amen.
Is there anything you wish you knew when you first got to Nashville, music business-wise or music-wise, anything?
Probably so. Yeah, being, like I say, the only child and sort of an artist temperament, you wouldn't think so, because I present as sort of a guy that would talk the horns off the billy goat, right? But I, left to my own devices, I can be, an introvert sometimes, and prefer kind of, if I'm writing, I'll, a lot of times in Nashville, we would write the song, and I would go home and hole up for a week or two and just spend time with that song and doctor it, love it, give it some tender loving care. And I would come back and people would say, "Oh man, you're like a song doctor. You took it and you cured this little part we didn't even know was wrong." And it just takes time. It just takes a little tender loving care. So, but I wish I had known networking, and I networked plenty, because I was with some good publishers. I wish I had known, if I had done like 100 times more networking all across the board, writing, going out, meeting people, being more social at the time. I think it would have helped. I think it would have exponentially bolstered how many, say, songs I had gotten cut. I really do believe that. I wish I had known that networking is up like on the top 1, 2, or 3 of things I should have. What I'm saying, super networking. I was networking, but you really have to do super networking over and above what you think. If you think you're doing it enough, you need to probably do about 10 or 20 times more. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I don't think you can overdo the networking. I've learned that too. It seems like it's something you can't do enough of, no matter what. But what is one of the most special moments of your career so far? I know it's probably hard to pick, but one of them.
Well, one would have to be the day the Moon Over Georgia got cut, and that was here in my hometown, Muscle Shoals, Fame Recording Studios. My buddies Shenandoah cut it. I knew those guys. They were here. They were in house, and I sort of targeted them with the song. It was a clever song. It was one of those clever hooks, the most clever I'd ever heard. And it took me 6 months to write it. I had a stack, Megan, of legal pads about this high on the one song. And I would, write a whole day, and I would trash that. I hate that. After 6 months, I thought I moved over Georgia to a point where I thought it's really good. It's about 96% there. And Shenandoah liked it and, of course, recorded it. But the more I wrote on that song, at first I had a little bit of convolution and kind of complexity going in the storyline, maybe a little too much, because I wanted it to spawn off and play off of this meaning and this. The more I worked on that song and chiseled on it, the simpler it became. It became more universal, more just so simple, and that was a eye-opening moment for me. And also musically, I chopped down my lines as I went along. You know, I've always been pretty wordy and musical. I like to stick a lot of Bob Dylan kind of lyrics. Man, it was getting really succinct, and brevity came into play, the briefness of some of the lines. So I learned that. But the special moment was I was working at the radio station. I was really one of the only employees, Megan. I was the only guy on the air. It's a small station. I mean, tiny, tiny. We had one salesperson, and they were out and about. So Rick Hall, my publisher and producer of Shenandoah, calls me on a day in like November of 1989 and says, "Hey, buddy, we're," unbeknownst to me, I knew they were in the studio rehearsing and what have you and doing this and that. Shenandoah was at Fame and Muscle Shoals, 40 minutes from Lexington. Rick says, you need to get over here. We're about to cut Moon over Georgia. And of course, I flew up on the ceiling, but I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm the only employee. I have no relief or nobody to call. I think the boss was in Atlanta that week. The salesperson was out. They didn't know how to run the radio station. I thought, what do I do? I called my mama. We're talking about they will bail their babies out. My mama came and I showed her how to cue records and how to play the commercial. She didn't have to speak on it. And she held it down for about 4 hours that day. We locked the door. I said, don't let anybody in. We'll pull the curtains. Nobody will know. You know, they can bang on the door. Don't let them in. You just sit here and play records. I went over there and heard Shenandoah record my song, and that is one of the most special. I think I could have quit. I would never have quit, but I was thinking I could have quit a happy man, because I sat there and I heard one of my songs, and it was on Columbia Records, you know, on CBS. It was on a major label, major artist, and major studio, and I was that little dog was having his day. I was. So that's one of the most special moments. And coffee's pretty special too. I'm sorry, I had to take a little swig of coffee there.
No, you know, that's such an interesting story. It just goes to show you can always count on mama, first of all.
Always. They're going to bail their babies out no matter what.
No matter what. Do you want to play something for us?
By 1991, it was a top 5 record. He owns a big estate. State of Georgia to his name. She'd be set for life. His colonial man laid the world at her feet on a silver platter, but all I had to offer her was the moon. She took the moon over Georgia. She'd rather have a million stars in the sky than a gold mine. She took the moon over Georgia. When it came down to his world or mine, she took the moon over Georgia. Little country house, need of expansion. It's a far cry from his South Georgia mansion. We got our own paradise. Shadow dancing till dawn with the full moon mellow light. She took the moon over Joe. Rather have a million stars in the sky than a gold mine. She took the moon over Georgia. When it came down, his world or mine. She took the moon over Georgia. She took the moon over Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, I just love that song. It's such a treat. Can you take us inside your songwriting process? You touched on it a little bit with your attention to detail with the tablets. How do you know when a song is done?
That's a really good question. I think we all go through that, all of us songwriters, all through our lives. You know, I don't know if they're ever done, because I've even heard songs on the radio, maybe that I've written. I'm thinking, well, I could have probably shifted that line. I think we just have to find a good, I think I have to find a good stopping point, maybe where I think, okay, we're 97% great, good, 98%, 95, maybe somewhere up in that percentile where it will pass through all the hoops. But I think I could still take some of these songs, and maybe that's just my analytical part of me, and keep tweaking on them, you know, forever. I don't know if mine are ever done, but I think close to done. We'll call it done. You know, if it's like 99% or 98, I'll go ahead and call it done, and maybe we'll fool. I'm thinking, you know, whoop, we fooled them again. We fooled everybody again. we slipped that one through.
Well, I guess you have to just trust your gut at a certain point.
Exactly. Just trust your gut. You'll know, you know, what percent you're gonna let that baby fly out of there.
Yeah.
And just
when you're ready to let go. Do you still write by yourself, or do you prefer co-writing?
Yeah, you know, I do both. It's the introversion factor. It goes all the way back to my only child. I do enjoy writing by myself because, and you probably do too. I think we talked about that before. You like to do both. When you write by yourself, it's unequivocally you write it your way, and that's sort of your soul, your artistry, and nothing else enters into that. It's all you. I like that. That's fun. But also I love the camaraderie and I won't say competition, the volleying, where you get the ball going and where the wordplay and the thing starts spinning. It's spinning really fast in a co-write sometimes. I like that too. So it's two different animals with me. I like both of them, and I've written really what I think are really some of my best songs on both sides of that mountain there. I've written songs that I'm really close to by myself, and I've written songs with other people, which I feel the same way about. So it's kind of songwriting and being an artist in the music business. It's just a big old, everything is good and fun about it, isn't it, Megan? It's fun.
Oh yeah, it's such a blessing to write a song every day, I think. I really do. A lot of our followers are new songwriters, and I was just going to see, what is it that you look for in a co-writer, and do you have tips on how to be prepared for a co-write?
That's a really good one, and I've always sort of been a researcher, even before the internet came along back before the internet, you'd say, publisher said, we're going to set you up with this new artist. I'm like, well, okay. Could you give me some like reconnaissance type info?
Yes.
Yeah, we can get you a cassette.
I
And
remember.
I'm like, okay, what? Yeah, cassette. So I would say, okay, I get what they do. All right, what do they look like? What's their, there was no YouTube videos or any kind of thing. So they would just like compare. Well, it's kind of like Mick Jagger meets Merle Haggard or something, That, and the personality is kind of like, like a wild rock and roll guy or something. So I would always like to do my research and have 10, 12 titles, and I still do that. I think we all try to prepare titles geared to what I think could canonize or immortalize that artist, could say what I think they're wanting to say. Could be something that would be like one of their top 10 records. I mean, I want to go for the jugular. I want that research to zoom in there and target. You kind of have to try to hit that target right in the middle bullseye. But that's what I did early on. And I would tell people, to do that research, like you said, learn. You can so easily learn with YouTube and all the videos, and especially bios. You can get on there and say, yeah, well, they like sushi and tractors, or something. Boy, they're really into some sushi. I see them with pictures about this, and they're driving tractors, and they got shaved head on one side. So I know what I'm getting.
Absolutely. I think that's brilliant advice. Sushi eating tractor lovers. I love it. It's a song. It's a song. I can hear it. After having so much success yourself, do you still set goals for yourself? Do you have like things that you want to achieve still?
Oh my goodness, yes. And it's to score again. Like with the 90s, I had a pretty good run in the 2000s, but some of those songs were, they're different than they are now. And I've enjoyed learning. I always always been very musical and eclectic. So I'm pretty easy. If somebody will show me or I can learn, I can assimilate. And I've been able to cruise really well through like the pop country, and I like it. But, tell me the question again. My brain went off track. What was the question?
Oh, just if you still set goals for yourself.
Oh, exactly. Duh.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I got off the rabbit hole.
You nailed it.
It's to score. It's to score again, to have another hit, to have a big cut on one of the young current artists that are rocking out there right now. It's a little harder than it was back in the day when I was getting a few more cuts in the 2000s and the early 2010s. It's a little bit harder going forward. Maybe it is for everybody. It seems like the camps are a little more, have more closure, and the extrinsic song pluggers, they still get through, but it's just not as often. So I'm having to try harder, trying to figure out different ways to get into those camps, and just that's where the super networking, I think, comes in. You have to be on your toes with all that, right?
Yeah, I actually, when I was talking with somebody the other day on an interview, they were saying they heard rumors that the camps thing is going to break up a little bit and open back up a little. So I hope so. I hope there's a little more room for everybody. I think that would be nice.
That would be, and things always change, and you're right. And I think that would be heavenly if it did open up and there were more opportunities for a whole, because there's so many great songwriters across the world, but in the locus of Nashville, Tennessee, and musicians and songwriters, producers, the talent level, it's unmatched, and it probably always will be.
I agree. I think the best of the best flock to Nashville. So it's going to be a saturated market no matter what, but that's a good problem to have. Really, there's just so much talent. That's good. All right.
Yes, indeed.
I have a few random quarantine questions for you, just to lighten things up.
Yeah, sure.
All right, since it's pajamas, we're thinking breakfast food, so I was wondering if you prefer pancakes or French toast.
Definitely pancakes, man. Pancakes. Big
Okay.
stack.
And you are a Southern boy, so do you prefer breakfast for breakfast or breakfast for dinner?
You know, Southern boy, but I like that breakfast for breakfast, you know. I do. I rarely eat the breakfast for like lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
I'm a morning breakfast man.
Yeah, except for that late night Waffle House every now and then, right?
Once in a very blue moon, yeah.
Right, that's right. Okay, wait, one more food one. What's your favorite quarantine snack right now?
You know, the favorite quarantine snack, there have been a few, but I'm gonna have to say bologna sandwich has been my go-to snack.
Classic.
I don't fry it. Yeah, that's classic. Put some mustard on there. No mayo. I'm not a mayonnaise guy.
Okay.
A little mustard on that bologna sandwich, and that has really kept me going.
That'll get you through.
That's
Bologna will do it every time.
my sushi. You know, bologna is my sushi in the quarantine.
That sounds like a song. There you go. There's a line. Bologna is my sushi.
Yeah, right.
I love it. Okay, one more question, and then maybe you'll play another song for us. Do you have, I guess, not a favorite song, but you know, maybe one of your cuts that's the closest to your heart?
Let's see, one that's close to my heart. I really do, and it's called "She'll Go On Ya." And it was Josh Turner's first single, even before "Long Black Train." He released it. It made it to like 43 or 4, but I wrote it by myself, and I wrote it. I had that title, and it was one of those clever titles, twisted about 10 different ways. And the first verse was about my little girl who was about to go to kindergarten, and it tore me up inside to think I was going to give her away to the mean old world. She was going to preschool. So that was really, she was about the first verse was about letting a little girl go. She'll go on you before you can turn around. The second verse was like how to romance a wife, leave, little notes on the refrigerator door. If you don't take care of that, she'll go on you, she'll leave. And it talked about time. If you don't take the moments, the time, she'll go on you. Time will go on you. Then it was about mom, and my mom passed away a few years ago, but it was about the mother in the third verse that she'll go on you, and you better, it was like a tutorial, I guess, of what I thought was a good way to treat women, the important women in your life. So that's a special song, and I wish it's got so many lyrics, and I don't have the lyrics on me out here in my office. I'm afraid I would mess it up. I'll do it on one of your Jammin' and Jammies back in Nashville in the fall or winter.
That sounds good. That's just brilliant idea. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, but I'll be glad to play another one for you, or what, if you like.
Anything you want. Anything you want.
Okay, I'll do this one here. Since you mentioned it earlier, I wrote this song with Adam Dorsey, who's from California, from Los Angeles. We started this at a Chinese buffet in Franklin, believe it or not. And it's one of those songs, we're talking about volleying stuff back and forth. It was one of those three rhymers. What I love, almost like a rap. What I love about Sunday, da da da, in a Hyundai, da da da, down a one way. I mean, it was like those three rhymes in a row were fun to play with. So we were just tossing all kind of stuff out. The song really wrote itself really easily. We wrote it that afternoon. Craig Morgan recorded it, and he had only had a minor hit, but this was a big hit for him and us, me and Adam, Jody Williams, Sony. So here we go. Raymond Megan's in his Sunday best, usually up to his chest in oil and grease. There's a Martin's walking in with that mean little freckle-faced kid who broke a window last week. Sweet Miss Betty liked to sing off key, and you behind me, that's what I love about Sunday. Sing along as the choir sings every verse of Amazing Grace. Then we shake, creak, and clank, go home into your blue jeans. Have some chicken and some big beans. Pick a backyard football team. Not do much of anything. It's what I love about Sunday. Yeah. Stroll to the end of the drive. Pick up the Sunday Times. Grab my coffee cup. Looks like Sally and Ron finally tied the knot. Well, you know it's about time. It's 35 cents off of the ground round, baby. Cut the coupon out. It's what I love about Sunday. Cat napping on the porch swing. You curl up next to me. Smell of jasmine wigs or something. Take a walk down the back road. Tack a box and a cane roll. Carve our names in that wide oak. Steal a kiss as the sun fades. New believers get baptized. Mama's hands raised up high. Have a hallelujah good time. It's what I love about Sunday. Yeah. What I love about Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I just love that song so much. Thank you so much for being here and talking with us.
Great, Megan, as always. And I look forward to, I'm going to, don a pair of pajamas again. I promise you in the fall or winter when we get back to doing those jamming and jammies again. That's fun.
Absolutely. I can't wait. And I appreciate your time. I hope you stay well. And we'll see you soon.
Dude.
It won't be long.
Amen. You too, Megan. It's been a blast and joy.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.